Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position you can live in if you have some things in the air. If you got game, wave like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got no fit, and you got game. If you came in the way, yeah, you got game.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to We Talk Raw. I'm your host today, Jennifer Busco, and I would love to welcome my special guest today, Miss Rachel Walt. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm just so honored to be here. I'm excited for our conversation.
I'm very excited about this. So you are a human energetic expert.
Yes.
But you specialize in human design.
Yes. It's one of my most favorite, most transformational tools I use with myself and my family and my clients.
Let's start with the first one. What is your definition of a human energetics expert? Talk to me.
So a human energetics expert has the language around the dynamics that humans experience. So within themselves, how they're feeling, what their intuition is telling them, creativity, all those things that are happening within our body, our mindset, our emotional output, all of those things, and how we interact with other people, how other people's energy, mindset, stories influence us, how spaces influence us, all those types of things.
Ooh, I mean, there was just so much in that. There's so much in that we can pick up from other people. We were just talking about that we can pick up from other people and other groups of people that we're carrying and responding to, and we think that it's ours.
Right. And I think we know that somewhere in our mind, somewhere in our heart. We can tell if like someone had a fight and we just walked in the room. Like you can feel those things, but not a lot of people have language or concepts or stories around that. And that's where I find human design to be so freaking helpful, because it gives you a framework to conceptualize those things you know to be true, but haven't really, put into words yet. So you can't even manipulate it. You can't change it. You can't, do any of those types of things with the stories you're telling yourself or the dynamics you're feeling or the emotional regulation tools until you have some sort of framework to work in. Yeah.
And I heard the other day on a podcast, such a simple way of putting it, that the body doesn't lie, right? So what you're feeling is always true. Right. Does not lie. The mind can lie. The mind can lie. Yes. The body does not lie.
Yeah.
And this man said, the truth always feels light and a lie always feels heavy.
That's so true. That just gave me chills.
Right?
I love that.
I'm going to do an Instagram reel on that.
Yes,
the next
do
couple
that.
days. Like if you're talking to someone and you're wondering if they're telling you the truth, feel into your body.
Yes, exactly.
Or if you're lying.
Look, so the truth resonated with me, and I just got chills all over my arms.
And you feel lighter.
Yeah, exactly. And that is one of the indications that I do resonate with something or something needs my attention is the chills.
Same.
And how many times do we walk around and we get those kinds of vibes, either from people or places or situations or questions or something, and it's trying to get our attention.
And we dismiss them.
We dismiss them if we even notice them at all.
This could be the next Ozempic. Okay, how to feel lighter.
Exactly.
Just tell the truth, and you just get lighter and lighter and lighter, and bam, you're like 100 pounds.
That's it.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
We've solved it.
Clock it
so
out.
much cheaper. It might take you some time and practice, but it's so much cheaper. But that's what I love about human design. It's an embodiment tool. I know, like in wellness spaces and spiritual spaces, in the world of psychology, we're seeing this move towards more embodiment.
Yes.
The body keeps the score. We've heard those things. We talk a lot about trauma and how it lives in the body and how the body always remembers things like that. And so human design is a real, I feel like, easy way to get into an embodiment practice, because things light up in your chart and give you direction on where to feel emotions in your body, where to feel your intuition in your body, where you're carrying your own energy and how that feels and how that is consistent or not, and where you're carrying other people's energies and how that feels, so you know the difference.
So let's back up, sister.
Yes.
Tell somebody watching that has no idea what human design is, like the collection of the modalities. Tell us what it is, brass tacks.
Human design is a system of getting to know how your energy works and how it's influenced by other people and how you play with the energy of the world.
Love it.
How the world responds to you or not. It can inform how you make decisions in a clear way, how you can, live into your purpose, use your creativity, how you can have more ease and less friction in relationships and things like that. So it's a framework for that. It gives language around it, like I said before, but also visuals, which I find to be so helpful. I'm such a visual learner. So when you see how energy is moving in your body graph is what it's called, or your chart, it's so helpful because it's like, oh, I can literally imagine myself with a story I'm telling myself in my head. Is it mine or not? I get to ask myself. Then it radiates out into the field of possibility, let's say, into the energetic space. It ignites an emotional response from my solar plexus, according to human design. And then it comes into my heart and emits a signal to attract more experiences like that. So I get to have ownership over my human experience to a degree.
And you said on the phone so eloquently that I can't remember, but you were like something about how it just helps you live a better life, or what was the wording that you said?
Well, it's in more flow. And I know we talked about this resonating a lot, which is like changing the world from the inside out. So it can inform how your energy is moving, but then how you relate to other people and how that relating to other people can change dynamics in families and communities. Then you can make the impact you came here to make. So it's really healing from the inside out. And I resonate so much with, yes, we need to do our own kind of care. We need to do our own transformation, our own personal development work. But then why? And my why is, well, because I want to change dynamics in relationships. I want to have less friction, more ease. I want to have more love. I want to have more creativity. And I also want to make an impact in the community. I want to make this world a better place. And that is one way to ripple that out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So well said. So when someone first sees their chart, it can look, I'm sure, like a foreign language, right?
It can be very
what
overwhelming.
So what's something that you could tell them that could change everything about themselves?
Well, so the body graph chart looks like a human with a bunch of shapes on it. And that's what it is. It's a human with a bunch of shapes.
And you have mine, correct?
I
on
do.
The game thing. Do you want to show it to the camera?
Mine.
Yeah, show us. Can you see that?
Yes. So I personally like to use an app called Neutrino Design. If you're more scientific, if you like details, if you like kind of the geekiness of the system, you might enjoy that app. There's another app that I use that's a little more contemplative, a little freer, a little more, flowier, and that's Align. Jenna Zoe uses that. She's a big human design teacher. She has a podcast and an app, and I find that to be really helpful when you need some more description around some of these energies. But I have Jennifer's chart in Neutrino Design, and you can see it looks like a human with a bunch of shapes. Those shapes are the chakra system. Okay. So human design is kind of a synergy of the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindi chakra system, which is where the shapes are coming from, and astrology, and mixed up with the genetic code. So this white dude from Canada went to Ibiza, had this spiritual experience, and wrote the system down for like 8 days. And it turned out to be a synergy of scientific systems like quantum physics and the genetic code, and also esoteric systems like the Hindi chakra system.
Do you think
and astrology.
He channeled it? Like, did he channel that?
I think he had to have channeled that, because even if you were an expert in each one of those esoteric systems, you would have to live a lifetime of that. To have the embodiment, to be able to know those systems as intricately as these are put together and then put it together, that would take lifetimes to do. So I can't think of any other way he would be able to put that together unless it was coming from some other source.
So question.
Yeah.
So as a human design practitioner, how much of this is a skill versus a gift, or is it both?
You mean the use of the system or your actual gifts?
You as a human doing human design on people. Is it just a skill that you're have memorized what's in what house or whatever?
Yeah.
Or are you using intuitive gifts? Or
Me personally,
both?
I'm doing both. Yes. So you have to have some skill. You have to marry the left hemisphere with the right hemisphere kind of energy, right? You have to ground it, but also be willing to be open. My unique energetic signatures allow me to channel. So I have an open head.
Woo,
I have
channel for me, baby.
That's right. I have an open ajna and throat. So I'm able to carry energy from outside of myself, bring it in, and then interpret it. I have a special gate, which is a part of human design that really describes your personality quirks, your energetic, flares, basically. And one of those gifts, we call them gifts too, one of those gifts is to alchemize things, is to take complex parts or different parts of different things and bring it together, digest it, and then interpret it for it to make sense. So that is a natural thing that a human design reader does after you're integrated in it yourself. So yes, I had to go down the rabbit holes of the technicality of the system, but now that I've used it so much within myself and with my clients, it's definitely more of an integration, a fluid channeling interpretation of how I'm reading and feeling the client's energy, and then, pairing that with their questions.
So each human design reader has their own way of craft,
100%.
Their own craft, their own way of crafting the
That's right.
modality.
And you'll see that there are some, bigger named teachers out there, but there's no guru out there. This is not a religious system.
Fairly new, right? How new is human design?
Late 80s, early 90s. So it's been around longer than, we think.
Are you trained in it by a teacher, or did you just do
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I started off doing it by going down rabbit holes and using it with myself. And then I wanted more structure to be able to serve my clients in more intricate, more detailed ways. And so I study under Dr. Karen Curry Parker, who I think is actually just the best person to bring this system. Shout out. I did her transformational coaching. So that program is specifically for people already doing consulting, already doing coaching, or perhaps you're a psychologist or you're a nurse or some in other field where you're relating to people and you want this tool to help them in whatever field you're using it in. And I thought that was so helpful because it really complements a practice you already have going.
Love it.
Yeah.
So when you're in sessions, right, what's one thing people are usually shocked to learn about themselves through human design, but can end up being true, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's the deconditioning of what you think you should do versus what your natural inclinations are. And when you see me or hear me describe that in your chart, they're like, oh my gosh. For instance, when I first started doing this with myself, I used to tell myself, like, I'm not disciplined. I'll start something, I get sick of it, I quit. Like, what is this? And I would shame myself for that all the time. It's like, I've habits stacked. I've done all this stuff those other gurus are telling you to do, and it's still not successful with me. Like, what's wrong with me, right? That's what we tend to do. It's like, what's wrong with me? Well, when I read my human design chart, my energy is not set up for that kind of structure. I need an overall structure, like a container, but a lot of intuitive, present moment flexibility within that container. What I'm talking about is like, I have a morning routine. I can't say like, I'm going to run every day, every morning, but I can say, I'm going to get up early and do something for myself. And then I have the present moment ability to say, what feels good to me today? Yoga, running, Pure Barre, meditating, resting more. And that feels so good. And I've been consistent for that for years.
So I'd like to share one thing I do remember by my last human design session was that helped me feel unshaming about myself.
Yes, it's like taking layers of shame off.
Confirmed and affirmed of who I am is she was like, you were never meant to do things that don't make you happy.
No.
And I've never had like a traditional job. I've never had a traditional life. I don't have a college degree. I've never been married. Like I'm outside of the box times 1,000,000%. And she's like, it is in your makeup that you are serving the collective when you do things that make you, it makes me want to cry. I know, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
When you are doing things that bring you joy. And there have been so many times where I'm like, this can't be my real life. Like having fun. And now I'm like, that's pretty much what I'm working towards, if not doing. Like, this is fun to me.
Right,
you know?
Me too. Well, and that's the thing. It's like human design helps you like splice out what is my desire and a core essence of me and what is a story that my family of origin has told me or my culture has told me or the collective has told me or marketing messages has told me. Marketing messages and our culture says you go to a 4-year college, you get a career, you stay in a good job and you hold that job and you become wildly rich and successful. Like that's what the only story. I mean, I think that's obviously changing, but
it's changing, but it's still
changing,
there.
but it's still very present, especially like in our parents or the other people around us. You know, that's still really rooted in their beliefs about the world. So to see that in your chart and to be like, oh my gosh, like this is why I love so many things. So for instance, Jennifer, you are what we call a manifesting
generator. Let's talk about me, shall we?
Oh yeah,
do it.
Y'all will love
baby.
this. I know. So in human design, there are 5 aura types that describe how your energy works and influences other people, okay? Manifestors are the people that are supposed to start stuff. Manifesting generators are here to start stuff, and then they have the energy, as long as they're in their joy, as long as they're lighting up and getting energy from it, to do what they love, to do the work, to complete projects until it's time to stop. Manifesting generators are so conditioned because a lot of their presentations look like ADHD because they might have a ton of different projects, a ton of different interests, fingers in all sorts of pots. You start, you stop, and that is accurate for your energy. And there are so many messages out there that say, well, you need to finish that project. Well, I can't believe you have a closet full of craft supplies and you haven't even picked it up. Like, that's how your energy works. You are meant to do things until it doesn't bring you joy, doesn't light you up, makes you mad, makes you frustrated, and then you're supposed to let it, sit there for a minute. And maybe that's a no forever, or maybe it's a no for now, and then your energy wants to pick it up again. So it's this relating to your own aura or your own energy field as present moment, real time thinking. Is this lighting me up? No, it's making me really frustrated even just thinking about it. I'm just going to set it down. I've gotten what I need to get out of it. And then maybe I'll revisit it and get some more out of it later, or maybe not. Yeah. Then we have generators who are also worker bees, projectors who are the supervisors of the world, leaders, they see patterns really well, and then reflectors who are here to really be like quality control for the energy of the world. They're here to take in all sorts of energy throughout a lunar cycle and mirror it back to us, kind of saying like, are we doing this? Are we good? Like, is this all right? So when you look at all the aura types in that beautiful way, it's such a beautiful puzzle of if everyone can operate in their own energy, it would make sense. It would fit. Everyone can show up uniquely and individually, but also fit into the collective with their gifts, offering what is good for them. And then when it's time for them to save their energy or move on to something, they pass it off to a different energy type. Yeah. And that's so fun to use. I use that with people at work, like corporate teams. When people see their human design on a corporate team and then we work to like change some of the corporate dynamics, it is eye-opening and heart-opening. And it immediately changes the culture of the team because it brings so much compassion. It brings so much understanding. You don't tell the story of like, oh, she's the worst. She is always, never finishing a project like your energy type, right? But instead, when you know that, oh no, Jennifer, she just really has a lot of different interests. She has a lot of energy for a lot of different stuff. And when it's time to set it down, she can set it down. You have more understanding. You're not going to tell a story about how Jennifer is like flighty or whatever your word is. You're like, no, it's time to set it down. And then you can pick up the project and do your gifts if that's bringing you joy. Do your gifts on the project. So
what's the one where it's like a really small percentage? I think like Taylor Swift.
Reflector.
Okay. Yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah, reflector. I think Taylor Swift is a generator, but reflectors are
maybe
1%.
Trump, somebody I know that's leading the world in some sort of way.
The famous one that everyone does is like Sandra Bullock. She is a reflector.
Interesting.
That's 1% of the population.
1% of the population.
Yeah,
wow.
And it is a very unique aura.
They have power, right? Is it about power too?
I don't feel like that when I think about a reflector. When I think about a reflector, I think about trying to find their way, trying to have a lot of space and being really intentional with where they're putting their energy, with who they're putting their energy, because they don't have consistent energy of their own in their own system. They are borrowing energy from outside sources, from environments, from people. And so you can imagine, and it's not this like overwhelming sponge type of feeling. It's like little snippets throughout the month because they do follow a lunar cycle. That's their strategy to play with the universe. It's also their decision maker. So it's just it's a slower existence. It's a more intentional existence. But in a world like ours, in a collective like ours, that can feel extremely destabilizing. These people can be really sick. They can have like fatigue, mental health issues, emotional issues if they don't understand that kind of profile. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there a way for you to do like collective readings or no, because you need the birth time?
Well, yeah, technically you need the birth time, date, and place of your client to get the most accurate reading for their chart. But people with a lot of collective energy, so there are different circuits in our bodies that are either individual circuits that are how, you relate to yourself and your energy, tribal circuits, how you relate to people in your small groups, like your families, your relationships, and then collective energy, where you're feeling the energy of the collective consciousness, but you're also reaching that level too.
So you can see that in my chart?
I can.
Like you can see that.
Yeah.
Ooh, tell me.
Yeah.
Guinea pig.
When I looked, your circuit groups, you have 13 of these circuits are collective energy. So you can feel the vibes, if you will, of the collective. And we were talking about anxiety. Like, there can be a lot of anxiety that can come with that, especially with the world feeling, destabilized. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of change really fast. And actually, the guy who wrote this system down predicted that in 2027, there's going to be this huge energetic transformation for humans. And so we can see that, we can feel that.
It's happening.
Yeah. And when we don't have language around it and concepts around it, it can feel really, anxiety ridden. Not to mention, people's resources are changing and relationships are changing. So, these people like you that have a lot of collective circuits that can serve the collective, but also can feel the collective and be influenced by the collective, really can watch that.
So then for me, it'd be like, okay, making sure that I clear my energy properly, right? Or disconnect my energy from the collective, right? Would that be like a tip or a tool of that?
Yeah. I think there's a level of definite like cleansing and protection. And I think everyone should do that to a certain degree because we do have these, what we call open centers. So those shapes in your body graph are called centers in human design. Those are ways that energy is either consistent within you in those themes, or you're borrowing the energy from outside sources. So we all should have a good practice of like grounding our energy, protecting our energy, cleansing our energy. But people with collective circuit, I would say maybe even just more acceptance of that, like the awareness of that, acceptance of that, and then using it as a tool for your impact in the world. So you have a wonderful megaphone for people, for their healing, for their awareness, for their support, resourcing, all of that. And I think that's a beautiful way that you're using your collective circuit is you are, amplifying the voices of people that could be of service to your audience. You're feeling your audience's energy too. But beyond that, you're feeling all of it in the world. So I think even just maybe providing some structure around that would feel really empowering. So having, a collective energy sitting where you just are sitting, you're allowing the collective consciousness energy to come in, you're reading it, you're feeling it, you're interpreting it, and then you're kind of just letting it go, letting it be there.
I'm going to do that today out back.
That just gave me chills.
And do it. I can see myself doing that. I love it.
And then you can maybe, serve your clients and your audience in a different way too. Like maybe you were really feeling that people need more meditation in their life or something. So then you can bring people on to have a meditation series. So that's the way you can use that collective energy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so helpful.
What else do you see? What else you got going on there?
Okay, let's
Tell me about myself,
so
shall we?
So that's the circuit groups. Another part of the chart, so we have these gates that I mentioned earlier. These are your flavors of energy. It comes from the Chinese I Ching part. It also comes from the astrology part of this system. So the day you were born, the planets and the sun and the moon were in certain positions, and that imprinted you, according to the theory of human design, that imprinted you with all of these beautiful energetic gifts.
How does a place matter? Like that I was in New York?
Because the planet's relationship to you where you are can be different. So if you're in Thailand somewhere versus like Denver, Colorado, you're going to have a different energy profile because of where the planets are in relation to your space.
Got it.
Yep. So it's time and space, basically. And there's two parts of your chart. So one part, the personality part, is the day you were born, the energy that's imprinted you on the day you were born. The other side is called the design side. It's more unconscious energy, we call it.
Ooh, and that's I want to know about that.
Yeah, it's about 80 days before you were born. So the theory, again, is that maybe that's when the soul takes the body and you're also imprinted.
Oh my gosh.
in.
I've heard many healers say that the soul doesn't enter the womb until like before they're going to be born. So people that have like miscarriages and stuff, that can be very healing for them to know that it might not have been like necessarily the soul hasn't chosen.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Right? Yeah. So those are the energies you might not feel super embodied, super resonant with unless you've done some awareness or you're of a certain age or you've done some personal development, work on yourself or self-care enough to kind of dive into those other energies. But what I find interesting about your chart is when your throat is defined and your motor is defined, which is your solar plexus or your sacral chakra, honey. That makes you a manifesting generator. But your throat is connected to your spleen. So in human design, we split out the spleen, and that is in charge of intuition and immune system stuff. It can also have a flavor of fear. You're holding fear there too. Jesus. So when your fear is really loud, it's really hard to hear the intuition, and then your immune system can suffer from that.
Amen, sister. My low back is my fear house. That is the House
there
of
you
fear is
go.
my little,
House
I'm like,
of fear.
what am I fearing? Why does my back hurt? Yeah.
Well, a way to unblock and release some of that energy is to talk about it, is to express it, because you have a channel, which is two gates connected, like a road highway for your energy, and it's connected your throat to your spleen. So that tells me that you should express through whatever feels good, whatever feels consistent, maybe here, maybe in a journal, maybe talking it out with a friend or a loved one, somebody close, maybe a psychologist, about your intuition, about your fear. If you're not expressing what's scaring you, it's going to be a major block for you.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard that.
Your throat is also connected to your heart, your G center. So our heart chakra in human design is split up into two chakras, the will center and the G center. Your G center is defined, and it's also connected to your throat. So those are themes about self-love, self-concept, your self-esteem. So expressing all of those themes can unblock you, but then also radiate out the energy that other people need too.
So can you see in there like where people's gifts lie, like what chakras or purposes?
Yeah. Well, we all have certain signatures and certain gifts. And because the planets are still influencing us through the transits, we get to sample some too. So our human design blueprint stays consistent, but we also get the variety of other energies depending on who we're with and depending on the skies. But yeah, you have a defined throat, a defined heart, a defined sacral chakra, and spleen. So that's where your consistent energy is. So that's probably where your gifts shine the most. Your innate way that you communicate is consistent.
I love singing. I'm a
yes.
throat chakra person.
Yes,
I'm very creative.
So much sense because you have tons of energy going in and out of your throat chakra from your other chakras too. And your sacral chakra. So I don't know how much, relationship you have to that, but that's creativity,
100%.
love, sexual energy, all of those themes, vitality. Those are critical for a manifesting generator. That is your motor that's like getting your energy running. So when you are doing things like expressing and singing and talking about your fears and talking about your intuition and using your intuition through your throat chakra, that sacral is like on and fire and giving you more and more and more energy. And so that's why it's so important to pay attention to your gut feelings, right? It's like, oh, this is like making me lurch forward and say, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then you have your full energy into it until that sacral settles down and says, we're done with that now. On to the next.
Love it.
Yeah. What else is beautiful is not only do we have gifts in our defined energy, our consistent energy, but we also have this beautiful gift of being empathetic and compassionate and understanding in our open centers too. So you have an open head and an open ajna, meaning you can see all sides of an argument. You can chew on all different kinds of concepts. You can think and reason and problem solve in all different ways because of that, because you're borrowing other people's ideas and other people's reasoning. You can see duality, which is so empathetic, so understanding, and so needed in the world today of people, in their fear, in like consistent energy of, no, it's my way or the highway. We need more people like you and me. I'm the same to say, you know what? Like, what about this? Think about it this way. I can see both sides here. I can do both things there.
I have no problem being neutral and in a place of non-judgment. People are like, how are you not judging me for, I'm like, I don't know. I just...
That's part of the reason why you
I have no problem with like neutrality.
Yeah. You have the beautiful gift of being able to hold other people's ideas and energy and not put all of your energy into it and saying this is the right thing or not.
That's why I'm not into politics. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
I'm just neutral.
Because you can see so many different sides of different things. Another energy center that you have open is your solar plexus. And in human design, we talk a lot about emotions being in the solar plexus. So you are literally taking on the energy, emotional energy of others, bringing it in your system, and it amplifies. So you can totally feel their experience.
Well, if it's good.
In all ways.
Right.
Yeah. So I have this experience, I have 3 small kids. And so when they are dysregulated and they're angry and they're irritated, that comes into me because I also have an open one. That comes into me. It amplifies. If I don't have emotional regulation strategies, I'm going to pop off. I'm going to yell.
Do you clear it like energetically, or do you just check your emotions and be like, okay, I know this isn't mine?
Yeah.
Like the awareness piece.
At this
awareness.
point, I can say, this is not my feeling. This is not my feeling. But before, when I was getting used to this, I had to physically remove myself to be able to have
physically
the space.
remove. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Welcome back to this week's segment of What's Trending Now on RB's radio, media, and streaming network. Take it away, Grizzy. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and now let's get started on our upcoming local, national, and international concerts. Starting off with Gracie Abrams, who's performing at Madison Square Garden for the Secret of Us tour, taking place on Monday, July 28th and 29th. Doors open at 8 p.m. You can get your tickets at msg.com. Greasy, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
You know what? My favorite Star Wars movie is A New Hope, the OG Star Wars.
It's a classic, of course. Tsunami, who's making big waves, is headed to Black Box Charlotte for her Club TSU tour and performing her set on Friday, July 18th. Doors open at 10 p.m. You can get your tickets at blackboxcharlotte.com. Greasy, who's an artist you know who's making big waves right now?
I got to shout out the band Fat Waffle. They got a new album out, and they are kicking tail. Wish them all the best.
Absolutely, streaming them all on all streaming platforms. Rufus Du Sol is headed to the Rose Bowl in the Palladium, California for Inhale, Exhale World Tour, taking place on Saturday, August 16th. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Greasy, ever been to California?
You know, I haven't had the pleasure to make it there yet, but one of these days, I'll be in the Golden State.
Absolutely, I smell a road trip. This is Annalise Pearl, bringing you all the new details on the latest trending water cooler conversations and Greasy Keys. Stay on top of the RBeats app at rbeats.com. Always bring you the best independent national and international music artists. Constant influences are on the RBeats app. You all know the drill. Now let's get started with this week's DJ World Beats top trending songs. Spinning now on 25/8 366, our global pop stream, DJ World Beats brings you Red Eye by Darcy, Candy by Claudia Valentina. We got Paradise by DJ Snake featuring Bipolar Sunshine, Catchin' Feelings by Christy and the Queens and Chiron, When We're Sober by Erica Tham. And trending now on RBeats Radio, our house and EDM stream, we have The Champ by Kashmir and Rios The Champ. We Own the Night by Black Atlantis. Go DJ by DJ Vortex, Gigi Love, and Simon J on the Burglar remix. Coming up on We Global Radio, our hip hop and R&B stream, we have D2F by Lost Girl. We've got Forever My Moment by T Grizzly. We have Sport by Shark. And then coming up here, we have Boogie, Get Down, and Awe by Lord Keys. And then we have When I'm With You by Lisa featuring Tyla. Closing out on USA Heroes, our classic rock and country station, we have The Sun by Brittany Broski and a new classic by Miley Cyrus, Easy Lover. And this concludes this week's countdown. Be sure to check out our social media sensation show, What's Trending Now, and be sure to check out RBTZ TV on YouTube and rbeats.com. And be sure to check out Greasy Keys' new show, The Watch List, right here on rbeats.com. That's it for now. Take it away, Greasy.
This tree, it seemed betrayed, it felt bereft. Put down your load and sing with me. I did, I stayed and never left. The tree said, look into my eyes and we will harmonize. The tree said, listen to my leaves rustle. Together let's do the hustle. The tree said, how about you breathe in and I'll breathe out. The tree said, look into my eyes and we will harmonize. The tree said, listen to my leaves rustle. Together let's do the hustle. The tree said, how about you breathe in and I'll breathe out. Ooh, you breathe in and I'll breathe out. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Welcome to the age of virtually unlimited access to film, television, and music video content. We enjoy media anywhere, anytime, delivered on web TVs, laptops, to tablets and smartphones. It's almost perfect. Introducing the next evolution of popular culture, Popology. An innovative media utility that consolidates all of your online memberships and subscriptions into a single powerhouse of infinite creative opportunities. Deploy customized micro-broadcasts to your choice of social networking platforms. Generate a fan base for your curated and self-created media. And earn rewards by selecting the brand commercials relevant to your life from within your personal micro-broadcast. Popology is your outlet to express your study and science of popular culture.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Access on your terms. You design your whole experience. This is Popology, the only place to exchange a micro-broadcast, chat about entertainment and popular culture, or simply watch infinite streaming content with others across the globe. One easy-to-use application to select and enjoy films, television, music, and so much more.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Popology is the portal to experience and utilize unlimited content and share it with your social networks.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Popology is all about customization and your story. Set up your inner pop sphere to organize content your way. Easily integrate other pop spheres within yours for you and your audience.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
That's only the beginning. Be more than a passive consumer of entertainment. You are a popologist.
You talking to me?
Learn and earn a Popology U production certification from the most creative minds in the entertainment business and pop culture.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Explore becoming an expert on mass appeal. This is the future. See, think, do. And entertainment and science will never be the same. Popology. Go ahead.
And we are back. This has been such a cool conversation talking about human design. So I was thinking on the break, let's compare human design to Myers-Briggs, right? Sometimes when you're in the office, like, okay, all employees take the Myers-Briggs test and see what your letters and codes. I think I'm an ENTP. I can't remember
what I am now. Yeah.
But like sort of comparing those two, it's similar, but human design is much deeper, right?
Yes.
About getting to know yourself.
Well, and the way I think of it, because I've taken all the personality tests, the way I think about it is human design feels so much purer because when I take a personality test that requires a quiz, if it's Enneagram, if it's Myers-Briggs or Big Five or whatever it might be, I find myself having like my conditioned self on one of my shoulders and then my true self on the other shoulder, and they're battling for the answer because it's like, oh, well, we're helpful. Like, you should answer like a helpful person. And then the other one's like, yeah, but we're also boundaried. We also are an introvert or whatever. And so human design just takes your birth date, time, and place. And so it feels very pure because if you resonate with this system and it describes you and you're feeling like, whoa, this is exactly like me, like it's not influenced by your conditioned self or what you think you should do or should answer.
It's already laid out for you.
It's already laid
out. It can't
out
lie.
for you.
It doesn't
That's
lie.
Right. Well, and it describes energies and not good or bad, right? Like not this or that. It's so nuanced. It's so, each energy has like a high expression of it when you're feeling really good, when you're aligned, when you're, in your highest self, when you're in your gift and you're in your energy with things that are lighting you up, and a presentation where, maybe something traumatic just happened and it knocked your base down, right? And you're not feeling great and you're anxious and you're in fear and you're in lack. It has that same energy can look a lot differently when you're feeling like that. So it's just so nuanced. And
so you can like look at the chart and see how you operate when the going gets tough sort of thing and how to get out of it. So if someone is feeling really stuck, right, just watching this, I'm feeling stuck, I'm like feeling out of alignment, what part of the of their chart do you look at? Yeah.
So a lot of people come to me when they're feeling stuck, when they're in a transition of some sort, or the rug has been pulled out of them, or they've even gotten a raise or something like that, or some huge life transition happens. It's very common to feel that way. Human design helps because it can give you language and support and a path forward on how to get yourself unstuck, how to move towards your highest self, towards your alignment. So every aura type, those that we talked about earlier, the manifestor, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector have something called an energetic signature. So each one of those auras have a feeling that is associated with being in alignment and not being in alignment. So that's the first place. I mean, every client's different, every situation's different. So I don't always start there, but that's a good place to start. If you're fresh to this or you're new to this, or maybe you've heard of it and you need some sort of structure, I would say go find out what the dynamics are in your aura type, one of those 5, and then see what your energetic signatures are for alignment versus not alignment. So for you, for instance, you're a manifesting generator. So your energetic signatures, when you're in alignment, you are feeling satisfied and peaceful. So if you are laying down your head at the end of the day and you're thinking about your day and you're feeling satisfied and peaceful with how the day went, no matter what happened throughout the day, you are probably in your alignment. The opposite of that, if you're out of alignment, it's going to be patterns of frustration and anger.
Oh my gosh, you are so wise. Frustration is literally my like historical emotion.
Well, and that makes sense.
It's the one that always comes out, and it can come out in really small. Like I'm trying to put batteries in the remote, and I'm like, you know, I'm like not angry that the world's starving and there's wars going on. I'm frustrated because I can't get the batteries in the remote.
Well, you know what's so interesting about that? Probably because that is blocking you from what you're doing with your creativity or with your energy. Manifesting generators in particular, and manifestors, if you interrupt their flow with their tasks or their creativity or anything, they're going to go frustrated, yes, but straight to anger. Like, no, because you have all this energy pulsing through you at all times. And if something's going to impede that at all, you get frustrated. 100%. So think about that, especially if you're feeling blocked. If you ask yourself, and you have a decision maker, an authority, we call it in human design, called a sacral authority. Sacral authorities love yes/no questions. So if you were feeling stuck, Jennifer, I would say, well, ask your gut, what part about this is making me feel frustrated? If it's, maybe you're on a committee or something in the community, and you're like, just thinking about this is making me frustrated. Okay, you can ask yourself yes/no questions to get at the clarity of your gut. You can say, is it the leader of the committee? Is it the time of day that this committee meeting happens? Is it the actual mission of this is not in alignment? You get clarity and pinpoint the exact part, and then you can create structure around that to suit your energetic needs. Or it can also give you the clarity to say, you know what, I'm done here. This has been great, but I got to take my energy elsewhere. And then you can set like a hard no or set a boundary or something like that. So it can be very, very supportive when you're feeling blocked to get the clarity that you want. Sacral authority is so interesting too, because I might say, Jennifer, where do you want to go for lunch after this? And you might be like, oh my God, I have no idea. I have no clue. But then I ask you, do you want sushi? And your gut will know every single time a yes or a no.
I love that.
Because it's open-ended questions versus yes/no questions. But some other people, some other profiles and auras and authorities really like open-ended questions. So this is just, for sacral authorities and manifesting generators, this works really well. And generators, this works really well. Yeah.
So if I'm stuck on a decision, start to ask myself yes or no questions.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So that would be the second place. So to help identify if something's in alignment or not, look at your aura type and what emotional signatures come with that, and then start noticing the patterns of that emotional signature. But then you can use your authority. So the authority in human design is the decision maker. You can use your authority to decide a path forward, to say, okay, what part of this is making me feel frustrated, making me feel angry? You get to the part, then you're like, oh, okay. So it's actually the time of the meeting. It just makes me feel stressed. I've got to get my kid here. I can't get sitters for here. My car, needs to be here at a different time, or whatever the stressor is on that. Well, then when you have that clarity, you can make boundaries, you can resource yourself around the solution, and then let that energy flow, and it won't feel so frustrated. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to have to hop in on Zoom for this meeting. I can't seem to get over there at this time of day. So if we can move the meeting, I can show up better in person, but if it's going to stay at this time, I'm going to opt in on Zoom, something like that. So it's a good boundary practicer too, which I think all of us can really have, more practice with setting boundaries, but it at least gives you some direction to flow your energy and some clarity, which feels so good when you feel stuck.
Well, I think that's why it's probably really important for the work that you do with these one-on-one sessions, because everybody's chart is so different.
Yes.
Right? And you can really hone in on the little specific details that can help someone.
Yeah. So what it looks like to work with me, I have this experience called Unleash Your Human Design. The person opts in. We set set a time to get together. I get their birth date, time, and place, and I create this beautiful digital chart with all the details of your energy, how to work with it, explaining parts of the chart, all of that. But then we get to meet for 90 minutes together, and I ask the client to bring their questions. Like, what is the part of you that's like really yearning for this system? Are you wanting clarity? Are you wanting grounding? Are you, needing a route forward? Did you get the rug pulled out from under you in this huge life transition and now you're just trying to grasp at straws to find your path? Like, what is compelling you to work with me? Bring your intentions for the session. I bring my intentions. And so, as we talked about before, I have an energetic gift of looking at somebody's chart and noticing the energies, finding the patterns, really digesting that to give them a summary and what I intuit with my intuition, but also with my logical brain too, of like, what is going to be the most impactful and the most functional. So I think out of all, the human design, readers out there, everyone has their own style and their own gifts of ways that they present this information. But I think from feedback I've gotten from my clients and how I can resonate is with the logic part of it. Like, this can feel so overwhelming, so intimidating. If you don't know the language, you don't know what you're looking at, you don't have any exposure to any of these esoteric systems, it can be like, what?
You can't just Google it, right?
No.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Do you do remote sessions if anybody's watching?
Yes. I do a ton of remote sessions. Most of my sessions are remote. And we still connect our energy too. So before a session, I always say a blessing of protection around us. I always say, let my ego be aside and let my true self shine. Please direct this conversation for what is everyone's highest and best. So I can trust that maybe if there was a part that I previously thought would be really important to talk about during the session, but our intuition and our conversations kind of go more in a different direction, I can trust that whatever we talked about that day is what the client is ready to receive
at that time. Yes.
At that time.
So do you channel also?
I channel, but I also pair that so well with the actual functional use of the system and like, what can someone do when they leave our session to make their life easier, to make their life better, to find more joy, to find more ease, less friction, to find more impact.
What can I do to make my life easier? Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
Right. Well, I think it's that decision maker
seriously,
is huge.
tell me.
Well, I think, I'm telling you, like, that decision maker with yes, no questions is huge. Another part of it is your profile. So the profile is described as the role you came to play in human design. There are 6 numbers and they represent energies. Yours is a 6-2. Mine is as well. So 6 has this energy of phases. So in the first 30 years of your life, you're really learning by experience. You're going to do stuff just to put your energy into it. You might have been making bonds, breaking bonds, just being all over the place because your energy is just like yearning for experience. Then from about 30 to about 50-ish, there are astrological triggers for these phases. It's more introspective, it's more self-reflective, it's more you're observing people and then you're learning lessons that way. And then around 50-ish, you come out as this role model energy. So you've really integrated life lessons through experience, through other people's experience, through embodying your energy. And then you're ready to show up as not a perfect human, but a perfect example of what an integrated, grounded, messy human experience is out there.
I'm so close to being a role model, y'all.
Yes.
Give me a year and a half. I'll be a role model.
That's right. So you can ask yourself, like, am I showing up like this? Am I allowing for my own personal development when I work through clients too? Like,
love it.
You can conceptualize that a little bit. Then your other number is a 2, and 2 energy is what they call hermit, but it's really this projected kind of energy of like lots of talents, lots of interests innate to you that you don't necessarily recognize until someone's like, oh my God, Jennifer, you're such a great cook. And you're like, wow, yeah, I am kind of a good cook, right? It's that kind of energy, but it is also this need, and especially because you're so intuitive and open and need to be by yourself in your own energy. 2s, I find, especially me, love to be in nature, to really, decompress. Yes, decompress and fill your cup up with those good vibes. And people might sense that, gosh, where's Jennifer been? Like, she's been kind of at home. So if you notice yourself like not wanting to go out at all from an out of balance place, it's probably that 2 keeping you in the house for too long, and then to go have some social connection would feel really good. So
for me, it's like I can't be out the whole entire day. I need to come back for 2 hours and just sit on my couch and ground and just do mindless stuff, and then I can go back out.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I need to go. Yeah. It's like in and out. In and out. I'm not one of those people that's go. I'm very energetic, but I don't go. I need to ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's too. Yeah. It's that friction. A lot of us have friction in our chart, like these two opposing forces that are always like buying for our time. And with a manifesting generator, you do have go energy. You have 100%. Tons of energy. But that too is just putting a little bit of like a rein on you. Like, so we would love to go that way. Yes, we would love to go out and do this, but no, what our system really needs is some grounding. What our system really needs is some quiet.
So how can human design help you as a parent?
Oh my gosh. This is one of the biggest areas that I have seen like change in my own life and in my clients' lives. So when we talk about the profile, this has been the point where my kids' profiles have totally allowed me to show up as a parent that I want to be. It allows you to create an ecosystem in your family where everyone feels like they're getting their needs met. So there's not these, not to say there's not these outbursts and stuff, but there's not all these stories that we're telling ourselves that aren't true. It's really allowing them to be their true self. So I love this example. I tell it in like every workshop because it's so specific. So as I noted, the 3 energy in your profile is all about experiential learning. So 2 of my kids have a 3 in their profile. So it's this messy learning, right? And one of them really hates making mistakes. So if you have a 3 in your profile or you have a kid with a 3, it's like, how can you make peace with mistakes or what we call mistakes? You know, I teach my kids, like, this is a learning opportunity. This is not a mistake. But when my oldest was young, we were going hiking and I was like, you need to wear tennis shoes. Like, we're going hiking to a waterfall and back. This is like a mile. Like, you need tennis shoes. And he was like, no, like, I want to wear my rain boots. He put on rain boots without any socks and wanted to hike like 1.5 miles up the mountain and back. And I was like, then it dawned on me. I'm like, okay, he will learn this lesson way more concretely than if I were to harp on him. If I were to harp on him and force him to put tennis shoes on, I would have a miserable experience. He would have a miserable experience. We'd be fighting the whole way up and down. It could totally mess up our entire hike for the day, right? Or I can allow him to be his 3 energy self and learn through experience and wear those rain boots. If he wears rain boots, might he get a blister? Yes. Might he, I don't know, trip or something like that? Yes. He's not going to hurt himself. Like, this isn't a safety issue necessarily. Like, is there going to be discomfort? Probably. So that child hiked that mountain up. And I set boundaries too. I was like, I'm not carrying you. I'm not bringing your shoes. This is your decision. You're going to stay in it. He hiked up that mountain and back, and he had a little blister on his foot, like nothing serious. I was like, did you learn that lesson? Like, does this feel right? Like, are you going to wear tennis shoes next time? He's like, yeah, Mom.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah, but it's allowing, when you know your kids' energetic tendencies and you know what their energetic needs are and what energetic development looks like, it can be so supportive where they feel seen and they feel heard and they feel validated. And we know as human beings, that's like a basic need to be seen and heard and validated. And not only does it allow that for your kids, but when I work with clients, they leave there feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling validated.
So could you do a reading for like a mother and kids, and you can do that? Oh, that's so cool. I need to do that.
Yeah, it's called a Penta chart. So when 3 to 5 people are together, their auras make a whole separate energetic aura.
That's so cool.
I know. So you can see all the dynamics play in and play out and who's bringing what energy to the table. It's interesting in my family's Penta, so there's 5 of us. I've got 3 kids. My energetic signature does not offer group dynamics in our aura, which I find so interesting. So I'm like, so what is my role then as a mom? I guess it's just to the open centers. So I'm borrowing their aura energy. It comes in my system. It amplifies. So I'm basically like the supervisor, the project manager, the reflector in the group. So I feel our family's energy. It comes into me. And then I can be like, oh, okay, she needs this. He needs that. He needs boundaries here,
Wow.
Yeah.
So how can people find you if they want to book a session and talk to us?
Oh, yeah.
Do you do one-on-ones? Do you do workshops? Okay.
Yes, I do workshops online and in person. I have a website, craftinggood.com, and that's 1G. I'm on Instagram mostly. I just started TikTok, and that's been really fun. So I might be there mostly one day. But right now I'm on Instagram at We Are Crafting Good. So you can just DM me. You can check out my website and book through that. But yeah, I have one-on-one mentorship experiences if you really need some integration help, but I have that unleash experience like we talked about before. If you just need like a boost and someone to, catapult you on your way, on your journey with human design, I've got that. I've got a little one too for $50, 20 minutes if you just need some sort of, high level direction. So there's a huge variety of a huge need. And, I'm a solopreneur. I am flexible. So if there is an experience that you're like, will you please do this or have a VIP with me there or whatever, I am open to your suggestions and your desires and needs.
So closing question, is there anything that you've seen maybe in the last, 50 sessions that's an underlying work, right? Or thing that people are struggling with or need to work on? Like, do you have one thing that you could say? I think
it's shoulding themselves.
Like, I should have?
Yeah. Or I should do this. I should have said yes to that. I should have gone to lunch with her. But really? Your energy was saying no.
So we're hard on ourselves.
We're hard on ourselves, and society's messages are getting in and dictating our decision-making, our life purpose, our careers, our relationships. It's dictating most of everything.
It's like detaching us from ourselves.
It is.
To actually feel what we're feeling like we want to do and what brings us joy.
So if I would say any pattern that I have seen really with every client is they're shooting themselves in some way, or they're operating in societal conditioning and not into their core self. And so even just the awareness of the chart and the dynamics can click them in like that. And it can be so super helpful. I mean, even just one session can unlock, years of shame and shoulds and doubt and really leave you feeling empowered to live as you came here to live and make the impact you came here to make.
I think that's really the bottom line. And the couple times I've had my chart read, it's that awareness piece. And I always say awareness, like having the awareness can move mountains. Like there's so much that can be done and so much energy that can be shifted and lightness that can happen when you have the awareness of who you are.
Yeah.
So, well, on that note, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for coming, Rachel. This was amazing. And for anybody watching, check her out, DM her. And if they have any questions about how you operate, slide into her DMs.
That's right. They're open.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday, sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air, tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position you can live in if you have some things in the air. If you got game, wave like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got